Christmas has come early as Google's launching its big OS update ahead of schedule, but considering how we're coming off the heels of a super buggy Android 12, just how much of this new patch is focused on fixing those than adding new features? Well, keep watching because in this video we're going to talk about everything that's new to Android 13, and when you're going to get it on your phone. First up, Android 13 takes Material You to the next level. Android 12 was easily the biggest visual overhaul that we'd seen in years. And while Material You was a pretty dope step in the right direction, it didn't quite feel like it was fleshed out enough for anyone to rave about it. Like the changing widgets and accents were nice and everything, but they just didn't work consistently enough. Plus, with only 4 color options to choose from, there wasn't much in the way of customization either. With Android 13 though, Google has gone back to its roots and has given us the widest range of tweaking options that we've ever seen on the OS. We mean they've almost quadrupled the number of color schemes that you can choose now to match your wallpaper. And this time, they come up with complex patterns as well. For instance, you could choose between variant hues, muted hues, or even go crazy with the colorful fruit salad. On top of that, we finally got an icon-themed engine as well that, despite it being a bit hit or miss, it is still a welcome addition for anyone who doesn't want to download a launcher. What more, they've also added some nifty little touches to smaller UI elements. The media player, for example, now has a squiggly line that shows you how your music's playing. Plus, the persistent notification, which is more front and center now, also switches color according to the album art. Oh, and the setting icon, it's now more reachable in quick settings. Up next, your Bluetooth earbuds are also about to get a big boost. Now, over the past few years, Android's made some massive strides towards making Bluetooth an actually viable alternative to wired earphones. After all, most modern phones don't come with the 3.5mm jack anymore. With that said, it's still not quite enough for anyone who's an audiophile or just likes good connectivity. I mean, even Google's own Pixel lineup struggles with this stuff. Thankfully, we're finally getting a big upgrade to the Bluetooth tech in Android 13. Called Low Energy Audio, this new standard will let earbuds operate in a low-powered state while keeping the actual quality intact. Of course, this kind of sounds like technical mumbo-jumbo, but here's what it's actually going to do. Basically, you'll be able to connect more than 2 earbuds to the same device and have them go at the same time. So your dreams of having a private silent disco could finally turn into a reality. On top of that, the baked-in support for the latest LC3 codec means that everything that you listen to will sound super crisp and clear, even if it's being streamed on a lower bitrate. Oh, and obviously low energy so means better connection over longer periods of time. That's not all though, as Google's also bringing a couple of UI improvements to Android's listening experience. For example, in version 13 you can now switch between different outputs right from the media interface rather than having to go into Bluetooth settings. Now, Android is also getting smarter with its latest update. As an operating system, Android has gotten pretty mature at this point, and while Google's own Pixel phones are definitely the most optimal experience and you could have with the OS, some of those smart features are also now trickling down to other phones. Take Clipboard for example. It's an app we use multiple times a day, and yet it hasn't been updated for years. Well, apart from some minor tweaks and adjustments. Having said that, Android 13's finally going to add some much requested features to the app this year. In the past, all you had was the option to copy, cut, and paste. But now when you copy some text, it actually shows up in a little alert box in the lower left corner. And if you tap it, you can actually edit the text before sending it, which is going to be massive for anyone who likes to copy stuff with Google Lens because, well, it's not always accurate, plus you could always give it another pass before sending it to avoid typos. Like, this could be an actual lifesaver. Oh, and for privacy reasons, everything will just poof away after an hour of copying, so you don't have to worry about any passwords in the clipboard either. Other than that, Google's also bringing you smart home controls to the forefront, because in Android 13, you can opt to access them while your phone's locked, but again, for security reasons, it'll be kept off by default. Also, privacy is a massive part of the Android 13 update. These days, it almost feels like an arms race between Apple and Google to see who can one-up each other in terms of privacy and security. And to be fair, it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, it's the consumer who gets to benefit from the competition, so prepare to have even tighter control on app permissions in Android 13. For starters, we're now getting a photo picker in every app that lets you choose which images that particular app can access. For instance, if you only want Photoshop to access the top 6 photos in your phone, you can let it see those without giving it access to the entire gallery. What's more, this feature also extends to other things in your storage, which means that basically you no longer have to give away all of your data for limited functionality. Like, if a music player wants to pull stuff from your storage, you can ask it not to look at your images or documents. Oh, and the great thing about this feature is that it's actually rolling out on the previous 2 versions of the OS as well. But perhaps the greatest biggest improvement in the notification department, as apps will now have to ask your permission to send alerts, kinda like how it works with location access. So no more random spam from this one shopping app you accidentally downloaded. That said, dual language in apps is arguably the most requested feature. Android's an operating system that's used all over the world, so there are tons of features that native English speakers may not even think about, which are super popular for everyone else. And according to Google, one such feature is the ability to set different languages for individual apps. Now, it may not sound like a big deal, but before Android 13, you literally had to switch the language on a system level to do this. So this is definitely a massive change for anyone who's bilingual. Obviously, the use cases can vary from person to person, but let's say you only use WhatsApp for a family group chat that's in French, but you want all of your other apps to be in English. Well, now you could totally do that. Also, remember how tedious scanning a QR code can be on Android? We mean, do you use your third-party app, Google Lens, or your camera? It's always a mess. With the latest OS update though, you can literally just swipe down and find a scanner in quick settings. Pretty neat, huh? Oh, and speaking of neat things, Google's also done a ton of work on the overall readability of its operating system, with better fonts and emojis, and what this means is that everything will look a lot crisper, and will also scale better if you decide to resize it. But wait, why did Google release Android 13 early? Now, if you've been following Android updates for the past decade or so, you know that they usually arrive with a new Google Pixel phone. This year though, they've released the OS almost a month in advance, which does seem kinda bizarre. There's a good reason for that though. You see, the Pixel 6 launched with Android 12, which was an operating system riddled with bugs and glitches, so not only did they hinder the sales of the phone, but it also kinda prevented people from updating their current phones. That said, with Android 13, Google's hoping to get a month's head start and let current users seek out any potential bugs before they release their phone. Obviously, this doesn't exactly exude confidence, but apparently, they've pretty much ironed out most of the older bugs here anyway, so perhaps things aren't as bad as they seem. Oh, and as far as the rollout is concerned, Pixel users can download the latest OS on their phone right now, and either flash it manually or wait for an OTA update in a few days. Samsung, Xiaomi, or OnePlus users, on the other hand, would probably have to wait a couple more months before they can opt out. Here's the bottom line for Android 13 though, it's not reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but with the amount of quality of life and meaningful improvements it's bringing to the table, it doesn't have to be either. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Google's brought enough new features to justify a big OS update? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.